I'm starting to want to work on the van again. But during the off season of working on my stuff, I kind of wanted to build me a little room, you know, to where I don't have to work out in the driveway. This is just on my house a little bit, and it ain't nothing fancy, but we got lights and door and stuff, and we don't have no concrete floors or anything, but you know, well, all right, it's a place to work. So what I was doing is I was going to put a new alternator on the van because I like the big alternators and I'm a fan of Mechman alternators, and I decided to get a alternator for the van. And see, what I really wanted to do was, the van originally comes with a small case alternator. I wanted to put the large case on there because you have more options of amperage. You've got just better all around stuff. Plus, I mean, large case is going to have more stuff in there, right? Man, I don't even know. That's what's in my mind is, but I wanted a large case because, like, if I decided to put a second, you know, alternator in there or something like that, we could just do a second one. We could have a matching one or something. You know, I guess I could do it with the other. But when I was researching for small cases up to 400 amps, the selection was very limited. A lot of 320s and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm hoping to be pushing around 10K watts in the van. So I wanted to go as big as possible so I don't have to drop even more money into, you know, lithium cells, and which I'm going to do that anyways. Just, you know, anyway, squirrel got me a little Mechman large case 400 amp alternator, and the dog just came over and brought me his ball. I guess it's playtime. So I got the alternator, and I decided, you know, hey, before I make this video, why don't we pull the factory off, you know, make sure we got the right bolts and belts, and because I knew I was going to have to modify the bracket a little. You know, all the things I need to make it work before I start the video. So I pulled the factory alternator off, and both of the mounting brackets on the front were broken off. Like, they were still on there, but they were broken off. Basically, the only thing was holding on was the belt and the strap that's on the support strap that's on the back. So had to get a new alternator bracket. We got another cold spell in there, and I ain't stomping around in the salvage yards at 18 degrees outside. I just ain't doing it. So we finally got an alternator bracket, went over to pick apart, had to do it myself, got it. It's all right. We took it off. We can take another one off. So I got that, and we're going to put it together and see what we can make happen. All right, so what we have here is our original factory alternator. I've already taken this off the van because I wanted to make sure everything was going to fit up before I started doing this. And when I got off my factory alternator bracket here, so I can get it in shot, the mounts are broken off of it. So it used to be like this originally on the van, and those were broke off. So I had to get a new alternator bracket, and it took a few days to get that. This is the original small case alternator. It's the CS something, you know. But anyways, it's the, oh, it don't even really say. No, it doesn't really say. So this was the original small case. I think this thing was 110 amp max, probably nothing at idle, maybe 10 amps at idle or something like that. And this is the original alternator bracket. So what I ended up having to do is I went and got another alternator bracket, and I wanted to swap to the large case alternator, which this is here. And this is the Mechman. It's the 400 amp, and it's the AD 144 or something like that shit. I don't know. Anyways, it's the post off of the back because I need that for the van. If it sticks straight up in there, it hits something. But it is the 400 amp large case Mechman alternator. And I went ahead and mounted it on the bracket here. And what I had to do is this bolt here, the original bolt, it bolted up just fine, just like the factory. This one was off just a little bit, but it mainly had to do with the mounting bracket here. It was smaller on this side than it was on this side. The bolt hole on this side was the 3/8 bolt, like what originally came in it. And with the original alternator, it's screwed into the alternator body. Show you real quick. See, where are we at? See right here, this was the original mount, and you can see how it's threaded. And the bolt originally, let's see if I have it. Oh, here's the original bolt, and it threaded through the bracket into there, and that's how it mounted on. And then there was a rear bracket that was also mounted in there. So what I had to do was I had to put a 3/8 bolt. I think that's a 3/8 by 3 inch, I believe, grade A bolt on this side, but it's basically the duplicate of what's on this side. So I've got that in there. And then the mount on the back, the bracket on the back, we don't have a bolt hole back here. So I may do something with this to attach this later. I don't know, but you do have to bend this out of the way. See how I've got a little bend on it? I didn't take it completely off because I got an idea about extending this out a little bit and then making this bolt go through it. Hey, there's the train. But yeah, that's my idea of extending this through and maybe get a little more support here so we don't break this again, you know what I'm saying? No breaky. So anyways, I've got it on there. This is what it's going to look like, and I will now I'll go back out and we'll put it on the van here in just a few minutes. I got the factory bracket back in and tightened down. There are 3 bolts that mount this down. There's one here on the front, one here, and then one below that's a little harder to see. Don't forget to drill out the hole for your dipstick, and we should have already drilled out the hole for the bracket during the mock-up. We are going to use the factory wiring temporarily right now for the fact that we don't need any big amperage at the moment, so we will be swapping all that out later on for the bigger gauge wire whenever we need the more power. All right, it is in and it is bolted down, tightened up, belts on, harness is plugged in. Don't forget to run your switched wire up around the fan, zip tie it to the harness if possible, use wire loom. I drilled in a hole here through the firewall, used a rubber grommet, and make sure you put a fuse link in there so you don't burn down your stuff. All right, let's test the resting voltage. 12.43, pretty typical AMG battery. Let's crank her up and see if we're charging. Almost lost my really expensive multimeter there. Don't laugh, it was $5 and it works. Let's see where we're at. 14.9293, 91, somewhere in there. We are charging. Now, one thing left to do. Peel off the backing for the sticker. Some of you guys like this AMSMR or something, whatever. I don't even know. I don't know. Oh, shit. Figure messing up. Put your back down. Nope. Shit. Rub it in a little bit. Get it to stick. It's not going to stick. Dang it. It is not going to stick. Shit. Alright, let's try it from the other direction. Swap hands. Is it gonna come off? Yeah. Oh, okay. We a little crooked, but it's alright. It's alright. Nobody's gonna notice. Let's hope it stays. Push it in a little bit. Mechman! So it's been a couple of days, and we've been driving it around. I put a smaller belt on there, a belt that was a half-inch smaller than the original, to compensate for the smaller pulley so we can charge it idle. But I got the belt on there. I've drove it around a couple of times, and we're still charging. We're still tight, and we don't have any belts squealing. So everything is good to go with the alternator install. And today is raining, so we're inside playing some video games. But next weekend, I'm gonna start pulling out the rear of the interior, the rear of the van, and we're gonna start getting ready to cut out the floor, put in that C-notch, put in the paralleled 4-link. Probably gonna do a Watts link to go along with it. Just depends on what we got going, what we find out once we get in there, but the air ride is on its way. Damn it.
well.
So will you help us?
I suppose I'm bought. I will come to you.
It's settled then.
Now then, it is time we departed. Activate the portal, and we will see about it.
What is happening?
It begins.
You're awake. There's a lot to...
You made because we are this cigarette from here. Place me. Maybe you don't look sick.